What's good, YouTube? It's Butter and John, man. Today, Today, I'm back with another reaction, man. Hold on, let me raise my seat up real quick, though. No, bro. We here with the EBK Rappermannery, bro. He got a young boy shirt on J-Bo and them blog, bro. But if y'all ain't know what this was, this the Trap Lord Ross EBK Rappermannery, man. And bro, speaking of that, I'm still mad that J-Bo wasn't at the YB concert, cause I wanted that vlog for y'all, bro. I swear I did. But if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, man. Stay tuned for more. And last thing, this video will be 2 parts, bro, because this is 2 hours. And I'm not finna do that, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So the first jump probably gonna come out today, and the next jump probably gonna drop either tomorrow or the day after. But alright, let's get it.
I'm here on 2100 and Nightingale, famous for the rapper EBK J-Bo. But for him, this is more than just a corner. This is the home of an infamous gang that are at war with so many different sets in the area, it's easier for them to just say that they're everybody killers. And unfortunately, the truth behind that saying is much more real than you could have possibly imagined. So today, I'll be telling you the whole story of EBK J-Bo, EBK, everybody they wanted to kill, and everybody they did.
The FBI rubbing their hands like this. Oh, bro.
12 people have been shot. We're doing CPR on one possible 12-year-old.
Just a few hours ago, a mass shooting at a child's birthday party left 4 people dead and 10 additional people injured.
Nah, bro, I'm trying not to pause in this, bro, because it's so long, but I wasn't even dropping vids when this was out, bro. But, bro, RIP to everybody who lost their life, and condolences to all them, bro, and their families, bro. It's like I be doing the reactions to the drill music, but I ain't say nothing about this, and I felt some type of way. I was like, dang, bro, like, that's sad, bro. Like, no cap. Like, whoever did that, I hope they got DP so crazy.
This parking lot, this strip mall where we're told some of the crowds first ran to try to get cover.
Investigators say they believe this was a targeted incident.
We're talking about children. We're talking about a cake being cut as bullets are ringing out.
Families and mothers sobbing.
Number 1 priority is ensuring that we find that suspect and hold them accountable.
You just see bullet holes and everything, man. And then the evidence markers, they still here. It's just all here out in the open. I never seen anything like it. Just everywhere, all the way up, the whole thing. On the door.
Investigators arrested 34 suspected gang members.
70% of the city's violent crime is committed by gang members.
It's hard not to have that association there when a gang member's shot.
If you pull up in blue, you might just get checked.
Even though it's a small city, it is violent. And with this rap stuff they got going on right now, I would advise anybody that's not from Stockton, that goes to Stockton, watch what music you play.
The largest city in American history to file for bankruptcy.
A 26-year-old man was killed as 2 young children, just 5 and 6 years old, were inside the car.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, that little
Content warning. This video is about a sensitive topic involving loss of life. We've removed any graphic content to comply with YouTube's guidelines. We aim to provide informative, factual journalism on a tragic event in the public interest that does not dismiss its seriousness. All clips are used under the doctrine of fair use for news reporting and analysis. Some points made in this video are opinions and theories. I am not responsible for third-party information. If you want to watch my videos uncut and extended, go to patreon.com/traplawross, where you can get those for just $2. Also, you can now watch my new drops on Spotify, so go search me there. Here's the video. So before we get any deeper into the video,
hold on,
I want
to got the drill Rappermannery podcast. I ain't gonna lie, that'd be a move in the car though, on a long road trip.
Story with you. After I learned about the horrific events of the Stockton mass shooting that took the lives of
14 hurt. I know y'all couldn't read. It said 14.
Children, me and my team began digging deeper into this story. I did extensive coverage of the topic and the events preceding it on my second channel, Trap Ross, where I'm now covering breaking news daily. The story was clearly very important to people, and learning about the community affected by this made me want to learn more about Stockton in general, so I decided to visit as part of researching this video. Now, I asked a few friends of mine from Northern California what it was like there, and what they thought of me going to Nightingale for this video, and they all said the same thing: do not go. I even reached out to higher security, and they said that I would need 2 armed guards minimum to guarantee my safety. Now, honestly, I was really taken aback by people's reactions. I've been to some of London's most notorious hoods to cover gang wars in my own.
He talk about London. I mean, they can't have no pipes out there. He could definitely get poked up, bro. But, bro, come on, bro.
including one where 2 people were murdered just 2 streets over from where I lived for 4 years. Also in the USA, I visited the hood of Bronx drill rapper D-Thang G's River Park Towers, as well as the location where 14-year-old drill rapper Notley Osama lost his life, and where K Flock took another man's life. I've also done hood vlogs in Los Angeles, Compton, and Long Beach with both the Bloods and the Crips, so despite having gone to some of the most dangerous spots around the world, the way people spoke to me about Stockton just felt different. Now, a lot of people always try and make me feel scared and act overly cautious about these kinds of things, and most times that I've been to a dangerous area, I've actually been embraced and welcomed.
Bruh, young boy in every background in this video, what's going on?
I underestimated Stockton. It was different. As soon as I pulled up on Nightingale, I felt a very dark energy. It just felt so desolate. I was surrounded by abandoned stores and buildings, crumbling roads and sidewalks. The sounds of dogs barking and sirens were filling the air, and the streets were really empty. It was eerie. And then as soon as I hopped out of the car and approached the 2100 block of Nightingale, the infamous sign that you saw at the start of this video, I immediately got banged on by someone across the street, and it was very clear to me we were not safe from the get-go. Now thankfully I was with a well-connected local who was able to defuse the situation, but I truly felt in danger from the moment my feet touched the concrete.
You think it's a problem?
Huh?
You think it's a problem?
Over there?
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, dude, we're with him, so if we weren't, I would be concerned. Trust me, because I can't take it.
Clearly Stockton, and the hoods within it, have a very dark and dangerous energy. Pretty much every single car that drove past felt like a danger to me, and everywhere we went, we encountered people that were seemingly baffled.
Ross said, on that car.
Seeing someone like me there. So if this is how an outsider is made to feel, I can't imagine how intense it must be growing up in this environment and dealing with this type of danger and darkness as an insider with a face card. And that's why I feel it's important to share that backstory so people can understand just how hard the residents and youth of this city have it when it comes to surviving this dark environment. And clearly, in light of recent events, the authorities in Stockton feel the same and are trying to get a handle of the situation. In the wake of the tragic mass shooting at a child's birthday party that grabbed national headlines, the Stockton mayor officially requested federal support.
Now she wants more manpower from the federal government.
I ain't gonna lie, I never heard of the police literally calling the feds. I mean, the mayor calling the feds, like, get in here. But whole time they been building a case on them, bro. If y'all really believe the no, they already sent what's it called, task forces at everybody. Well, not everybody, but they definitely did send a task force.
We want to be their pilot site for the United States of America.
Damn, I might do that.
Come to Stockton. We're here ready with our arms open for you to come into our city and let us lead then the nation on how to do it right.
And in that request, ironically named Mayor Fugazi revealed a staggering reality, that the city of Stockton was home to over 100 gangs with an estimated 5,000 members. Moreover, she noted that the police had already seized more than 752 illegal guns off the streets in the year of 2025 alone. All of this was unfolding in a city already crippled by severe police staffing shortages and a long-standing lack of resources needed to keep up with this surge in crime. As of 2025, the Stockton Police Department had only 372 sworn officers to police the city, which means...
Is that a little bit? I mean, considering they said they got 5,000 active gang members, 300? Yeah, I don't know.
Stockton, gang members outnumber the police 13-1. Beyond that, deep-rooted issues like poverty, unemployment, limited educational access, and extreme inequality continue to fuel Stockton's crime rate, keeping it ranked among the top 10 most dangerous cities in America year after year. And so despite being in California, the city of just over 300,000 residents has repeatedly ranked number 1 or number 2 for homicide rates. And even Stockton PD's own social media would show just how strained the police department has become, with non-stop vacancy ads offering...
Bro, I'm just trying to read all this. Salary, dang, they getting 100,000. 21, 20 license, GD, no felony, 15 band sign-on bonus. I know them, they out there running to get on the police team.
$15,000 sign-on bonuses and trainee salaries ranging from $89,000 to $115,000 a year. And also, one of the most unusual efforts to boost manpower that I've ever seen included a volunteer mounted patrol program, with the requirement being that volunteer cops bring their own horses. At the same time, the Stockton Police Department has leaned heavily on the public, posting a steady stream of unsolved cases through its dystopian weekly series of appeals calling for help, titled Who's That Wednesdays.
Oh, they police suck. They catching ads out there easy. They can't even tell who somebody is who robbed the store.
Stockton's gang problems trace back to the late 1980s, when a major LAPD crackdown pushed Los Angeles' historic gangs north, ultimately planting roots in Stockton.
The late 1980s, the Los Angeles Police Department crackdown on street gangs in South Central LA drove the groups north into cities like Stockton and Sacramento.
We're going to stop the violence. And we want to get the message out to the little cowards out there that we're going to come and get them fast.
From there, the influx of gangs created demand for specialized enforcement units. But everything changed once social media hit the streets and gangs began using online platforms to recruit younger members, as well as becoming more violent and far more public.
The influx sparked a need for specialized law enforcement units to focus on violent crimes that have often been associated with gangs.
Primarily what we saw were turf related. You could go into a certain neighborhood and the representatives for that gang would most likely be in that neighborhood, representing that neighborhood, protecting that neighborhood, and also controlling that neighborhood, which is different than what we see today. It's kind of taken the place of the typical tagging, traditional tagging you'd see in neighborhoods. We are seeing younger ages of gang members now that are actually active.
Man, we try and get money. Well, not saying we, because I'm not a gang member, but the younger of my generation, we try and get some money, bro. I ain't gonna lie, they definitely catching hats though too.
As young as 12, I think it's critical that at a young age, youth want to feel accepted. And if they're not getting praise, if they're not getting acceptance inside the home, they're often going to seek it somewhere else. And what we see is a lot of times they find that in these gang cultures.
Over time, Stockton drifted away from traditional LA gang rivalries, and in this new era, the color of your rag mattered far less than the specific block or clique that you were claiming.
I think gang banging in Stockton compared to LA and Compton in the 80s and 90s was kind of similar, but these days I would say the difference is LA is still more like traditional Crips and Bloods, whereas as far as Northern California, we have Crips and Bloods, but it's kind of more like block banging, more of the block you're from or the clique you're from than colors, you know, or Crip and Blood. There's a lot of hoods out here that have both Crips and Bloods.
Allegedly, it's a war between such neighborhood cliques that would ultimately lead to the recent devastating bloodshed. But before we get to the events that might have led to this tragedy, let's introduce these crews quickly by having a look at their previous run-ins with the law, because as it turns out, none of them are strangers to the Stockton police. For example, in 2016, a gang known as the Westside Lewis Park Bloods were taken down by local and federal law enforcement under an operation called Bloodline, led by none other than the Attorney General at the time, Kamala Harris.
See though, I didn't know that that Lewis Park, I never knew that they got federal blitz, but I knew that. No, I ain't even gonna spoil it. I ain't gonna spoil it.
Resulted in the seizure of guns, cash, and more than 41 pounds of marijuana, along with the arrests of members linked to multiple robberies and homicides.
Stockton police went after gang members in the Westside Bloods and the Taliban, not to be confused with the terrorist group. Officers say these gangs are making Stockton neighborhoods unsafe with shootings and armed robberies.
Those who are out there that think that they can terrorize neighborhoods like this, your day's coming.
Officers also took
52 of them got arrested, and guess how many finna tell? Probably like 15.
over 20 weapons and 40 pounds of marijuana.
Police say the charges in this operation include murder, drugs, and human trafficking. Most of the suspects are in their 20s, and the pictures that are not up here is because they're juveniles.
The Westside.
Wait, is human trafficking pimping? Is that what they talk about? Or they talk about they was trafficking humans? Like, I don't know what that is.
Also known as the Lewis Park Bloods, have one of the most unique histories in Stockton too. Sometimes referred to as Stockton's deadliest gang, their story began in the 1980s, when the blood gangs that had begun in Los Angeles about a decade earlier to combat the rise of the Crips arrived in the Northern California neighborhoods. Meanwhile, in the late 70s, war in Southeast Asia resulted in floods of refugees, tens of thousands of them arriving in the United States. Among them, Cambodian families feeding the Khmer Rouge regime that claimed nearly 2 million lives. Eventually, some of these survivors settled in Stockton and the Lewis Park neighborhood, with local news reporting how Stockton had received the cream of the crop who, despite their high education, lacked job opportunities. Combine this with intergenerational trauma that the next generation carried over from their parents who had literally escaped a genocide, it didn't take long for these displaced youngsters to become entrenched in the local gang life, with the Black Bloods of Lewis Park integrated the newly arriving Cambodian teenagers into their street ranks. By the 1990s, the Lewis Park Bloods had transformed into a mixed race gang, blending traditional blood symbols with Cambodian cultural influences, and today people of Cambodia Caucasian heritage make up the majority of that gang. This is something that's been documented in recent hood vlogs in the area from top-tier YouTubers like Tommy G.
Yeah, we watched all this, bro. Well, not all this, but we heard that part that they came over from the genocide and stuff, and we watched this documentary as well.
Operates around Pixie Drive in West Stockton, right next to Lewis Park.
West Stockton, Lewis Park, man. Tapping in, finna show y'all around my hood and everything.
Only side in Stockton, all diamonds. Only side of Stockton. The other side.
Yeah, it's all Bloods over here, you feel me? We don't click up with nobody or nothing, you feel me? It's just all us out here.
You know, we get it back in, man.
My Diablo, that's our exit right there. We surrounded by water. Over here on that side is water, that side is water, back there is water.
And includes several up-and-coming rappers, the most notable being Bounce Back Meek and Javin 2900, who both have millions of views on their music videos on YouTube. Another relevant gang would be in the headlines in 2017, as a 2-year operation targeting a gang known as the Northside Gangsta Crips came to a close, leading to a takedown of more than 20 members, who were tied to a string of shootings, robberies, gun crimes, and drug trafficking charges stretching all the way from Stockton to Reno, Nevada.
Officers made 15 additional stops throughout the city, seizing cocaine, heroin, prescription drugs, and firearms. 12 people were arrested in Stockton, but the search didn't end there.
These subjects were then driving to Nevada and selling the narcotics at a much higher price than could be sold for in Stockton.
Nearly 200 miles away, investigators found more drugs and guns in Reno and arrested 11 more people. The investigation uncovered the alleged involvement of a San...
Woo! She about to sing on them boys. They finna get the belt. Oh my God.
County correctional officer.
Yet despite the arrests, the operation barely dented one of Stockton's most deeply rooted gang sets, which continues to operate from its stronghold in North Stockton around Townhomes Drive and Bianchi Lane, where the older generation commonly identifies as 400, while younger members adopted 500, both derived from the 2 main blocks within their hood.
Where you at?
Okay, so this is 4 and 5K. Okay.
500.
So the older and the younger.
The younger.
Yeah. But it's still. I mean, it's still.
Man, I mean, that's all the same. You know what I'm saying? The 5 and 5, all the same.
However, despite the gang's decades-long presence, it has relatively little presence in the Stockton rap scene, with only a few artists representing them on the music side, such as rappers known as Demeem, aka Lil Cuz 1090, and 500 Want, who made headlines after the Stockton mass shooting when he publicly came out and said he condoned this ruthless attack.
Hold on, bro. Okay, so now... see, it's all coming together now, Chad. All I'm gonna say is if you know, you know. But, hey...
killed 3 innocent children.
Bro, and they're talking about they don't condone like that.
What happened?
Sound like a...
Wait, hold on.
We condone all that. We condone it, but we didn't do it. Kids.
In the years leading up to 20...
Bro, what is going on with my John? Hold up, bro.
He publicly came out and said he condoned this ruthless attack that killed 3 innocent children.
Bro, and they're talking about they don't condone like that. Sound like a... We condone all that. We condone it, but we didn't do it. So... Oh God, don't put that on us. Bro, we condone this though, cause we shoot that with their kids.
In the years leading up to 2019, a crew named EBK, short for Everybody Killer, was steadily appearing in police investigations across Stockton as the gang became tied to more and more shootings and violent crimes. Before long, that rise in violence set the stage for EBK's first major takedown, when 9 members were arrested in June 2019, 2 of them getting charged with the shooting death of 34-year-old Ronald Celestine.
Tonight, 9 people are under arrest in Stockton, all in connection with the street gang crackdown. 2 of these 9 people were arrested in connection to the shooting death of Ronald Celestine back on May 1st. Celestine was shot and killed in the area of March Lane and Holiday Drive. Now, the other 7 were arrested on various charges ranging from felonies for miscellaneous warrants. The suspects range in age from 18 to 40. And according to the San Joaquin County DA's office, EBK stands for Everybody Killer and represents a gang policy of open warfare.
And at the heart of EBK's identity was...
He said it represents a gang policy of open warfare. Hey, bro. Nah, cause they, bro, like this Joan, I ain't gonna lie, this is definitely the best documentary I reacted to about them, cause it's so much coming together. But we learned the rest from the other stories. But so now I know who 400 and 500 is, and I know who the Bull Wante is. That he be saying fully every time, and I was just talking about that yesterday. But the last thing I'm gonna say, bro, is they only 20 deep. that's crazy. They going to war with too many people. Only have that many.
It represents a gang policy of open warfare.
And at the heart of EBK's identity was its home turf in southeast Stockton.
That was boo, I ain't gonna lie. Southeast. South. It's in the southeast. It's southeast, though. That's where I really grew up.
Centered around the 2100 block of Nightingale Avenue, which you saw I visited at the start of this video, this was an area that the late rapper Young Slowby showcased in a hood vlog on the Thizzler YouTube channel in 2022. The music crew and an alleged gang known as EBK was born around 2016 or 17, but the identity around 2100 Nightingale goes back generations. This hood, including particularly black and Latino members, with the older members repping particularly the Crips, whereas the younger generation tend to rep the Bloods. EBK is of course primarily known through the music of Stockton's most buzzing street rapper, EBK J-Bo.
Bro, they got some hoopers from their hood, bro. Slowby, J-Bo, Young Jock, Lebo, Pig. Bro, I know I'm leaving some out. Baby Max, bro, they got some hoopers on that team. No cap. I ain't gonna lie. Each side though, well, I ain't gonna say each side, but Javin and Bounce Back Meek, they was hard. And Bands MB3s and MB Nell and Nano MB, of course, was hard too. I'm trying to think who else from Stockton I don't think I know nobody else like that's rapping like that's hard to me from there.
And music videos with millions of views. His most popular being the 2024 track Boogeyman, which has a music video with over 26 million views, as well as a wide-reaching police investigation named after it. As J-Bo has told in interviews, he grew up primarily in a neighborhood that the locals call Crow Valley, located roughly southwest from 2100 Nightingale, but his connection to that hood was strong through his father, who repped 2100, while J-Bo's grandmother would continue to live in the neighborhood through J-Bo's childhood.
All Mexicans. I grew up with all Mexicans, literally, in Crow Valley. For me, I'm from Nightingale, but I grew up in Crow Valley.
How far is that from Stockton?
Crow Valley?
Yeah.
It's in Stockton. It's in the south. It's in the southeast.
Okay, so that's like a little subsection
it's down the
type.
Street, Nightingale, but it's not like driving is close, but if you walking, you looking at like 20 minutes or something.
Okay.
But it's all in the south, though. You feel me? But it's the southeast, though. That's where I really grew up. You feel me? I grew up in Crow Valley, but my granny lived in Nightingale.
Other popular rappers from EBK include Young Slowby, who was making a lot of noise in the early 2020s, even getting features from artists.
Yeah, what's the name? EBK Juvie too, he was tough.
LA legend, the late Draco the Ruler, whose iconic rapping style J-Bo and other EBK members would arguably be influenced by wholeheartedly. There's also EBK Young Jock, who used to do music together with the other EBK members under the group name EBK Hot Boys before he would have a falling out with J-Bo and begin repping his own version of EBK, which for him stands for Every Brother Counts. Other key members include J-Bo's brother, EBK Osama, who started the crew, EBK Juvie or Juvie Jew, EBK Backdoe, EBK Mad Max, EBK Baby Max, EBK Turtle, EBK Pig, EBK Lebo, EBK Lil Play, EBK Trey B, EBK Lil Sleaze, and many others. The following year, after EBK's first major police takedown, the law enforcement shifted their focus towards gangs who would become EBK's perhaps biggest enemies, and ultimately the alleged targets of the 2025 mass shooting. In 2020, the cleverly named Operation Kryptonite targeted multiple majority Crip street gangs, including members of another rival clique known as the Fly Boys or Muddy Boys, aka Mud Brothers, or simply FB and MB.
Operation Kryptonite Takedown. After serving 55 search warrants, investigators arrested 34 suspected gang members.
Notably, the 5-month investigation led to the indictment of rising Stockton rappers from these cliques known as MB Nell and...
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, they federal... the FBI out there, bro, they coming to get everybody for real.
Spelt B-Cans MB3s.
Well, let me go back.
From these cliques known as MB Nell and bands spelt B-Cans MB3s, with the B being followed by a K for Blood Killer. A terrifying presence in the Stockton rap scene, Bands would only start making noise in the music game 4 years later, although in the streets he had allegedly already made his mark. This is something we'll get into later in the video. These cliques, which include many different races and ethnicities, including Asian, Black, and Latino members, had their origins in an earlier Stockton street gang known as 8th Street Mob.
I go by G-Ro, aka Papa Fly. I'm an original 8th Street Mob, South Mob Flyboy from the south side of Stockton, California. Being from Northern California, I don't believe back in the 80s and 90s we got the notoriety like we got now. And I believe that's due to the rap industry now, you know, that brought Northern California to the forefront with a lot of the rap that's going on these days.
According to OG Papa Fly, 8th Street operated as a mixture for many different gangs, including both Bloods and Crips, starting in the 1980s and continuing to the present day.
The section I'm from, which is the south side of Stockton, the mob, We're one of the oldest hoods in Stockton, if not the oldest hood in Stockton. We always had a reputation of being, we always had Bloods and Crips since the 80s, which a lot of people don't know. A lot of people think that the hoods that have Bloods and Crips are new or cliques, which ours wasn't. Ours always been since the beginning. We had red rags, blue rags, and black rags. To this day we do,
See, bro, that's something I know. I thought they was like super prejudiced about colors and not clicking up with like I just thought the Blood and Crip stuff was so deep, bro.
And black rags. To this day we do. We had
some areas,
3 generations of the mob. You had the original 8th Street mob, which I was from. You had South Mob Gangsters, SMG, that was the next generation. And then you have the young homies, which is Fly Boys 3Z, that's out now. We're one of, I would say right now, they're one of the most hated hoods in Stockton.
In his No Jumper interview, Bands broke down his gang's politics, explaining that rag colors don't determine their alliances and that their ultimate loyalty lies with the block, specifically the 8th Street mob.
Know who I'm talking about? My right-hand man is a Damu. This is my big bro right here. Like, this is one of my older homies. Like, this is I call my big brother. But when it come down to politicking about shit, I might call it, but he's a Damu. And be like, how the fuck
it
are
ain't
you?
Colors up to.
How the fuck are you running with a Damu? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm extra on what I'm on. I got my blue rag with me on the dead homies for the ain't no crap. But before I answer to a blue or a red rag, I'm gonna answer to the 8th Street mob.
Finally, Bands would explain that the 3s at the end of his name represents a 3-block alliance along 8th Street, these being BMF, Money Click, and the Flyboys.
Can we break down the name? Because to a lot of people, they have no clue what to call you when they see your name on the YouTube video. And then you break it down, it's just Bands. But there's a K after the B.
Yeah, I'm a Kiwi.
Right.
For sure.
And then there's a Z, so it's Band with a Z. And then MB3Z, so the MB is Mud Brothers, and the 3Z is what?
3s.
The 3s, man.
Oh, okay.
3s.
Adam is the police, bro. How long after this interview did they come and blitz him, bro? Like, seriously, bro.
MF, Money Click, Flyboys.
There we go.
20, 22, 23, 98, man.
That way.
What's that beat exactly?
The blocks.
I'm from the 8.
That's all the block.
So it's 8th Street.
It's a long
street. So
and these, man, we done lost from every one of these blocks, and we done gained every one of these blocks with these man.
Under this broader 8th Street umbrella was also the Filipino Crip set that MB Nell was born into.
Where I grew up in South Stockton, Southwest to be exact, but I say South Stockton, 8th Street. And my cousins and older uncles and all that, they was banging a Crip gang with like Filipinos in the area. And then there's like, we kind of really, it wasn't us being in their gang. We kind of just was in the hood with them. We was in the hood, and we just young cats, we in the hood. We just kind of we just doing our own thing, really.
Located near Matty Harrell Park, he and the younger generation of Crips in the area first called themselves the Matty Boys, and that name eventually evolved into Mud Brothers, or the Muddy Boys clique.
So, MB Nell, the MB part stands for Muddy Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Muddy Boys.
So, why that name?
Vlad the police too. He talk about okay whole time he writing it down, or he got the wire on.
It's just we from the mud, and we all brothers. So Muddy Boys. It's multiple. We have in our inner circle, it's different names for it. Our park that we be at, and in the hood on 8th Street Southwest is Matty Harrell Park. So like, it was like Matty Boys, then Muddy Boys, because we all from the mud.
But besides an alleged gang, they're also a record label.
MB is not a hood. Okay. MB is not a branch of nothing that has to do with a hood. That is a rap label that is used to make sure that want to succeed in life. Like, bro, we gonna fall in this label. We gonna do what we gotta do. We gonna stay out of trouble. We gonna move out of the way. We gonna do this. We gonna do that so we can get underneath this MB label that's gonna allow us to take us and our kids to the next step to where we ain't gotta deal with none of this shit.
And the most notable...
See, they was definitely seeing a bigger picture, bro. It's just the timing. But I ain't gonna lie, Ben spanked that John, bro. I hope he come home and do the right thing. MB now, he been doing the right thing, bro.
Under the Flyboys and Muddy Boys include the already mentioned MB Nell, Bands, as well as rappers like Nano MB, Flyboy Dougie, aka Dougie 3s, 20 Main 3s, and Boy Boy Gunner 98. Unfortunately, many of the people who you've just been introduced to would end up playing a direct role in a deadly gang war that wound up causing untold death and destruction. And not just for the gang members who were willing participants in the war, but also for the innocent men, women, and children who were simply unlucky enough to just find themselves trying to get through the day in this cursed community. But as far as EBK Jabo, it would be in 2015 when a tragic murder would take place in the heart of the community that he made famous, an incident that changed the trajectory of his life forever. So just 5 minutes away from the 2100 block of Nightingale Avenue is the Reverend Charles R. Holmes Park. This is actually where EBK Jabo's father, James Gorman Jr., Rari, shot his most popular music video, a tribute to Luther Champ Brown, who was killed by Stockton police in April 2012. On the 4th of January 2015, an incident took place that forever changed the life of young EBK Jabo. That morning, a couple of youngsters were at the Unity Park in North Stockton when two older teens, Lester Hands and Teddy Mahan, would rob the boys of their shoes and cash at gunpoint. It's often considered that one of these robbery victims was none other than EBK Jabo himself, although Jabo has denied ever being robbed that day.
He, like, the shit he said about my pops, like, bro, that cat, bro, like, I never got robbed. He was like, he'd make the little swamp stories, he said I got robbed or whatever the case may be. Finna get into that,
but what we do know from official sources is that at least one of the kids was a teenage son of Jabo's father, James Gorman Jr., also known in the Stockton rap scene by his artist name Lil Mondo, a moniker that he went by during the 2000s, and Rari, the nickname that he used in the early 2010s to drop numerous music videos on YouTube. Given that Jabo was only 11 at the time and not even a teenager yet, it's likely that the victim of the robbery was in fact one of Jabo's big brothers. But in any case, Rari would hear about what took place and he would go out later that day to look for the people responsible. Just a 7-minute drive from the park where the robbery had taken place in the 9300 block of Dalewood Street, Jabo's father was reportedly searching for those responsible for the robbery when he would have a confrontation with at least 3 other men before someone would take out a gun and shoot him. Another man would then drive Rari less than 2 miles from the shooting location to the intersection of Hammer Lane and Lanark Drive, where their car would reportedly get a flat tire. As the police and medics arrived at that scene, they would find Rari sitting in the car, suffering from soon-to-be fatal gunshot wounds, and he would indeed pass away soon after at the hospital, becoming the very first homicide victim of 2015 in Stockton. A few days later, 16-year-old Lester Hands and 17-year-old Teddy Mahan were arrested for the robbery of Rari's son, and Lester Hands was also connected to the homicide of Rari, although many think that the killer was actually someone else. Only 2 days before his untimely death, Rari had posted on his Facebook how he was sitting in his Porsche, the very same car where he would be shot, showing his discharge papers after successfully completing his parole. But despite his legal problems, Rari had seemingly been very close with his children, and his death would arguably change the life of a young Jabo forever, sending him down a dark path of death and revenge, with him later rapping in his songs how he, or at least his soul, died that day with his father. Given where Rari was killed, it's often considered that his killers may have been part of the Northside Gangster Crips.
Hella shell cases when we slide through, and I don't feel like I'm alive, because when Rari left, I died too. Can I play it, bro?
Given where Rari was killed, it's often considered that his killers may have been part of the Northside Gangster Crips, explaining Jabo's hate towards the gang from townhomes. And to further...
Dang, bro, y'all probably wanted to read that. I'm drawing, hold on. The tension kinda came due to the fact that at first the townhomes and the Flyboys have had beef for a minute. Bro, this not even highlighted. Rari, EBK Jabo's dad, was killed because he was spinning West Lane, North Stockton. Cause one of his... Oh, I heard Jabo say West Lane before. Cause one of his kids was robbed by West Lane. The story many people said was Jabo and his sister Tootie got robbed by them. So was it a son or was it a daughter? But West Lane and townhomes are both Crips on North Stockton. And territory is mad close. This was one of the reasons why the townhomes and Nightingale got into it, but it's more. Hold on, y'all. Casino. I never knew nothing about casino. So it's a Casino Nightingale was killed in 2016 while being on Bianchi Road, which is townhomes territory. Casino wasn't only Nightingale, but also Nortino and townhomes.
Been part of the Northside Gangster Crips, explaining J-Bo's hate towards the gang from townhomes. And to further support this theory, members of the set have kept dissing Rari to this very day, even taunting J-Bo by saying that he caused his father's death.
Wow. You know what I'm saying? You stupid lummy, you a dummy. Scary. Got your dad smokes. Take a look in the mirror, see your dad's ghost. Roll Rari in a swisher, wrap him tight with a white sheet. Man down, knock him down, face down. See what wake J-Money up and knock him cack out. Why this little keep saying my name for cloud?
But I ain't gonna lie, he definitely mad disrespectful though, but he ain't rhyming.
Don't talk so I'ma shut my mouth.
However, while the death of his dad was likely the first step for J-Bo towards the streets, it was likely the events of the following year in 2016 that made him off the porch and get active with the EBK.
Made EBK like, 2016, 15 or something like that. I hopped in the field like 2016, so it's like, that's when I started going through.
J-Bo's father had been a beloved OG in the 2100 Nightingale hood.
That right there, that's 2100 right there. That's NG, Nightingale right there. Smell it. From the Deuces to the Deuce 4. Never know all time. R.I.P. Corey C. A.B. Picture right now. You know what I'm saying? All time.
And one of the most affected by his death was one of his best friends from the hood called Casino Royale, or simply Casino, real name Roy Padilla Sr. But unfortunately, Casino would also suffer the same fate the following year, and he would be gunned down on the 9th of July 2016 in the 4400 block of Cotton Court, this location also being in North Stockton where J-Bo's father had been shot. And interestingly, this time very much in the heart of the Northside Gangster Crips hood near the Townhome Drive.
So his dad and his mans got killed by the same people? Oh yeah, I was on the same time, man.
Also, Casino's murder would go unsolved, even though his family would state on social media that the police had ample opportunity to catch the assailants. Online speculation also alleged that beyond representing Nightingale, Casino's affiliation with the Latino gang the Norteños, who were rivals of the Northside Crips, made him a target. For J-Bo, Casino had been like an uncle, and his death has clearly affected him to this very day, which is why J-Bo has a large Casino tattoo right above his left eye, as well as a large Casino World chain.
What's the name above your eyebrow there too?
Casino.
That's your pops?
Nah, my pop's Rory, bro. Casino, he from the hood. That's like my uncle.
Family though.
Yeah, that's
okay.
One of my
That's what I
pop's
was thinking.
best friends. On my mama, we Casino world for sure.
You want to tell me about Casino a little bit? Because I know you got it on your face and you got the chain going on. Like, what was your relationship with him like?
It's like my uncle. Not my blood uncle, but it's how I see him as an uncle.
Uh-huh.
Me as one of my dad's closest friends when I was younger.
And he just died recently?
He died, like, what, 2016?
Oh, okay. And you must have had a really close relationship with him if you're putting him on your face and in your chain, huh?
It's my uncle, bro.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Definitely.
Like his father Rari, J-Bo has later also mentioned Casino numerous times in his songs, like mentioning how some people from his hood didn't slide after Casino's death, and on the other hand, how he definitely did slide, with old social media posts from EBK members showing that Casino's murder actually started the gang's first war in the streets against the Northside Crips, centered around the Townhomes Drive. Meanwhile, EBK and the Flyboys gang were still on the same side at this point, united against their northern rivals rather than each other. In fact, several Flyboys members, including the rapper Boy Boy Gunner 98, later explained how close the groups had initially been, having grown up practically right next door from each other.
We kind of, I wouldn't say we grew up together though, but like I said, we lived in Crow Valley. Like, he lived in Crow Valley. My mom was still, we was in Crow Valley for hella long. My mom was still in Crow Valley. And his mama lived right around the corner from me when I was about 15, 14, and him being 2 years younger than me, he about 12, feel me? That was my little bro, my mama.
According to Boy Boy, they began rapping around the same time and eventually released a full project.
So we always been buzzing. We started rapping for around the same time. It's a slapper on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram, on SoundCloud with me and bro. We got probably a whole project on it.
For how many songs? Hella songs? Like y'all recorded hella songs together type?
Bro, it's probably like 8 songs.
Damn.
When we was like 14.
Even now, a 2019 snippet of one of
sound like he want to be mans with him again.
Songs remains online. Boy Boy has also mentioned that J-Bo had hopped off the porch early and was known for robbing, this likely beginning to take place not long after J-Bo's father passed away.
I was doing other I was already into really doing a move on. He was like, he really showed me like robbing top that side for real. I wasn't really robbing. I was already graduated. You feel me? I was already, you know what I mean? But that was robbing, and I was like, ooh, that's going crazy with that. No cap. Coming back with it. That was having it though. Feel me? Type.
After the tragic loss of his father, J-Bo began taking music seriously, encouraged by one of his father's close friends.
I always liked rap music, but I started rapping when I turned like 12. Like after Pops died, I made my first song. It did help in Killer G though, free that though. On my mama, he was pushing it, bro. He the reason why like EBK, like he paid for like the videos we got on Rap Shack and shit, Sweet Lady and shit. The homie from the hood, he the one that was pushing us, bro, cause we was just trying to be on some Nightingale, like everybody we rapping, but we not taking it serious.
But the reality was, behind his art was the real-life culture of gangs and violent crime. And according to J-Bo, the consequences of living this life were real and started early. From just age 14, he would spend every single birthday behind bars until he turned 22.
How long you been locked up for, bro?
I just did it. I did a year, but I bailed out. I did a year, bailed out, and then I came back into the year. They gave me three years, 8 months.
Word. So you damn near been in and out for your whole life.
Yeah, I ain't had a birthday out since I was 14. I've been locked up for every birthday since I was 14 years old.
In fact, he even dealt with California's gang enhancement penal codes so frequently that he would claim that he could recite them word for word. Now, it's important to note that his transition to the streets wasn't instantaneous. It was a shift that accelerated rapidly after his father died.
But your Pops was a street though.
Yeah, Pops was in the field.
So
I was
it probably
shit,
was
yeah,
been like that.
Shit, Pops was doing it, but like I didn't know.
Right.
But when I got in the field, it was hectic for sure. For my little, like 7 years being like thugging.
Cool kid, Pops passed, I'm thugging, or was it different?
I mean, like, when Pops passed, my mindset wasn't just like, oh, my Pops gone. Okay, I'm in the field now. And just transitioned into that, like, I can't even tell you how it happened, bro, because it's just like I'm thugged out now. It's regular now. But I honestly don't know. I can't tell you, bro.
He kept it honest on No Jumper, admitting that he wasn't a victim of circumstance. This was a life that he chose.
Because I'm not no fake, bro. I'm not going to act like I just been in the field.
Right, whole life.
Yeah, bro. About time I hopped in the field, my mom had already retired because my pops, I'm 19 right now, so my pops died 2015. I wasn't in the field yet, bro. So like, I started going to juvenile hall probably like 2016.
According to J-Bo, one of his first arrests was for stealing a car, which landed him in juvenile hall.
What kind of were you getting into that had you going to juvenile hall that young?
I was like, when I first like hopped in the field, I was into stealing cars. I ain't gonna lie.
You what is it, bipping?
Nah, I wasn't bipping. Like
you were a Kia boy?
We bipped. We got to that. But like when I first started, like I was really into taking cars. Like that, it just was hella cool to me. I don't know why. Like I'd be walking. Like my first case I caught, the case closed. I already got the time for it. I just seen a car. I hopped in that. Mama.
And just did your Dougie.
Got up out of there and went to school.
When you go, that's what you did.
He went to school. That's right.
Instantly with the flag. So.
But even during those stints inside and outside of jail, he started releasing tracks alongside original members of EBK from Nightingale, specifically the 2100 and 25.
I just say 21 Jump Street on bro, that your heart.
Blocks. This was an alliance that stood tall for many years, and the reason why some EBK members, such as EBK Pig, also go by Pig 2125. Over time, however, the collective started expanding its reach and connecting with other rappers and hoods like the late EBK Young Slowby, who had ties to San Diego.
San Diego was really like important to him type. Like, that was San Diego will always be a part of his story type.
That's a second home type. Like, bro, with the Biddy, and the Biddy love that. On God, like, you know, but brother came to the Biddy, he had a couple episodes, and you know what I mean, he lived out there, you know what I mean, so bro, you know the vibes, on God.
The roster would continue to grow with popular current members like EBK Lebo, hailing from 300 block in Blackgate, located in downtown Stockton.
I'm here with the Gravedigger, EBK Lebo. Let them know where we at right now. Mama, we are in the heart of downtown. We're right here on the Marianis, the most notorious block down here. What part of Stockton is this right here?
It's downtown Stockton, bro. Where we get the janky, it's at. Babies.
And this downtown isn't like the rest of the downtown?
Ain't like downtown. Look around. You see how downtown, you'll see big skyscrapers.
Yeah, but I say
you don't see none of that down here. It's trenches.
And even repping all the way from Utah, honorary member Lil Brazy made his stance clear in a 2025 interview, issuing blunt threats about what he'd do if he ever crossed paths with the alleged Flyboy shooter Ban.
I forgot about Young Bull, bro.
What would you do if you ran into Bands?
BK Bands, I'm smacking the shit out of it.
Didn't they extort Young Bull?
Kind of knew you were gonna say that, but yeah.
Smacking the dog out of
So anybody who's a J-Bo op is just really not somebody that you're a big fan of.
But a huge part of J-Bo's identity in music had always been his native area of Nightingale, with the J from his name itself being a double entendre related to both Jordan Court and the literal J shape of Nightingale Street itself, and this was a place that he defined as the home of the Killers. J-Bo would end up claiming the crown of the most beloved rapper making drill music in Stockton through his disrespectful lyrics, catchy songs, and arguably over-the-top self-snitching that in hindsight made the authorities' job much easier. Despite success in rap like his 2024 track I Don't Feel Alive, J-Bo would actually reveal that the fame of becoming the most poppin' rapper in the Stockton streets didn't truly make him happy. On the track, J-Bo would describe himself as being in zombie mode, emotionally numb, yet still willing to slide and put his life on the line for his people, and he would explain how he prepares for court as if it was just a routine. Because of this reality he was living, when J-Bo finally became an international name in the rap game, he had to celebrate that success from behind bars. However, J-Bo wasn't the only one whose promising future was hijacked by the streets.
Oh man.
Nearly 8 years before releasing his first song, Bands from the Muddy Boys and Fly Boys was chasing hoop dreams and planning a career in basketball. At the time, he was described as a quick guard who used changes of speed to break down defenses, showing the kind of discipline and focus he had on the court that potentially pointed towards a bright future away from the streets. But somewhere along the way, that path shifted. And over the next 8 years, Bands would go on to claim responsibility for more than 3 bodies tied to the Fly Boys' longtime rivals, the Westside Lewis Park Bloods.
Oh, on the other side, yeah.
What did I say?
2,900K.
What is it? What is the top?
Above that, it's got a W.
With what in it?
It's like a W with bullet holes.
How many?
3.
Okay.
Yet Bands was still connected to the music industry from early on though, through his cousin MB Nell, a connection that he told Adam 22 opened the door for the Fly Boys to enter into the rap game.
Been around rap for a minute, like my cousin, MB Nell is my folks. He's not a homie, he's not my friend, that's my real cousin. Cuz his own person. But at the same way, Cuz paved a lot of the way for us to get into where we at now.
However, during MB Nell's early rise in 2016, much of the Fly Boys crews was still locked up.
In 2016, 17, okay, when I Love My Gang, I think that's his first M to really go up. But a lot of our homies was in the pen. So as it goes back, like a lot of our homies wasn't in the pen, like I said though.
Then by 2018, the streets fully caught up with him when the police pulled over 2 suspects, including a then 19-year-old Bands, real name Raynico Flores, and searched their vehicle, finding a loaded handgun, narcotics, and evidence of drug sales, along with a disturbing-looking mask, suggesting the pair may have been out robbing. At that point, it appeared that Bands was already deeply embedded in his gang's alleged drug operation in Stockton, but it would be after he got out that he would allegedly catch his first body. On the 26th of June 2019, officers were dispatched to the corner of Hickok and Comstock after reports of shots fired and a victim down. This location, interestingly, being only a half a mile away from the location where the mass shooting would take place years later. When they arrived, they found 22-year-old Elijah Johnson suffering from a gunshot wound in front of a house and rushed him to the hospital, but unfortunately, he later died from his injuries. Witnesses described the suspect as a Hispanic male in his early 20s, about 6 feet tall with a thin build, wearing a dark hoodie, and possibly connected to a maroon vehicle. According to his longtime partner Elijah, better known in the streets as Eli, an alleged member of the Lewis Park Bloods, he'd been trying to turn his life around, and before his death, he had sent her a text messages expressing desire to change and fear that someone was going to take him away from their kids. But sadly, she didn't get a chance to reply, and less than 4 hours later, Eli was shot while standing outside his grandmother's house. Stockton police didn't provide a motive for the shooting, but according to a...
Dude, the tongue is powerful. Watch what y'all say, bro. No cap.
Own social media posts, he was an active member of his set, and by the following year, Lewis Park's main rivals, the Fly Boys and Muddy Boys, were beginning to claim the hit, such as on the 2020 track 201916, where MB Nell rapped how they left someone leaking in front of his mama's porch, and on an unreleased version of his 2023 track Spin, where MB Nell rapped how Eli didn't make it after they caught him loafing and drenched him. Despite the shooter acting in broad daylight with no mask on, it would take almost 6 years for the Stockton police to make an arrest, but finally in January 2025, they would take Bands off the streets and charge him with the murder of Eli. But unfortunately by that point, he had allegedly already got several more bodies under his belt, even labeling himself.
Oh, bro. This just reminded me, bro. See, I forgot that he did that. Well, I didn't even know he did that with no mask, bro. Because people was not rocking shiesties before 2019. Some people, 2020. Some people did, but a lot of people wasn't still. But, bro. Dang, bro. I hope he spanked.
as the King Von of Stockton during his 2024 vlog with the Oregon and Park ENT YouTube channel.
That's regular. You know what I mean? They thought I was King Von or Stockton or something because I'm on that, and I got a bag, and I'm finna pass that bag out.
Even back in 2019, just weeks after Elijah's murder, Bands was arrested again by the Stockton police following a 911 call from a motorist that said a vehicle pulled alongside him and that the front passenger pointed a gun at him for no apparent reason. When officers located the vehicle and searched it, they recovered the reported firearm along with marijuana packaged for sale, and Bands would be charged with 5 felonies, including possession of a controlled substance for sale while armed with a loaded large-capacity firearm. Then, just a year later, Bands made it out just in time for the Stockton police to launch their comically named Operation Kryptonite, the 3-month investigation that targeted multiple majority Crip gangs across Stockton. As mentioned, notable arrests among the list of 34 people included Band's cousin, MB Nell, who faced relatively minor charges of drug possession and having a false compartment in his vehicle, and he would get bailed out almost immediately. 21-year-old Bands, on the other hand, alongside a 70-year-old family member, were arrested on charges of unemployment insurance fraud, identity theft, and illegal sale of firearms. But meanwhile in the streets, a major indictment like this one would begin to cause some major unrest because
bro, like, how do they even know they was selling guns, bro? Like, what type of background work do the police be doing?
While in the streets, an indictment like this one would begin to cause some major unrest because every time OGs were taken off the streets, their gang would lose structure that had kept their organization more focused on meaningful endeavors like making money through numerous hustles, while the younger members would become increasingly entrenched in petty beefs over relatively minor issues. The development would later be explained by the Flyboys member Twanny Main during a No Jumper interview while discussing the eventual split between their gang and EBK.
I said, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, yeah, it was all one. We out there getting money, all the shit, you feel me? And then, like you said, like, you know, like how happens, the older go to jail, you know, disappear, the structure get lost, you feel me? So, and then that's when it just picks up from there. It could be anybody. It could be a little 14-year-old when did this and that. Now he the one's making the shots. And then he'll have all these under him.
Coming into 2021, it seems that this beef between the Flyboys and EBK would quickly turn deadly, with the first victim seemingly being someone who was unable to choose their side before it was too late. I'm now at 7th and Nightingale, a spot that you might recognize from EBK J-Bo's song 7th Street Baby, but it's also the area where a young man named Jay Jonah lost his life in January 2021, allegedly this being one of the first killings in the start of the war between EBK and the Flyboys. On the 14th of January at around 5:30 p.m, shots rang out near 7th Street and Nightingale Avenue, right in the heart of the hood, claimed by EBK and the broader 2100 Nightingale community. However, by the time officers arrived, the victim had already been transported to the hospital, where he later died from his injuries. Police identified him as 28-year-old.
Bro, they hospitals gotta lock in, bro.
Jordan Jacoby Scott Thomas, known by his friends as JJ or Jay Jonah. What actually led up to the shooting remained unclear to investigators, but his online footprint would provide some interesting tidbits of information, including the fact that Jonah was seemingly affiliated with both the Flyboys, aka the Threes, as well as being part of the older generation of Nightingale members and the blood brother of Nightingale OG and rapper Duffel Sixbag. While in old photos, Jonah can even be seen alongside EBK J-Bo's late father. Naturally, public speculation after Jonah's murder framed it as a retaliation by Nightingale rivals. However, Jonah's family's response seemed to complicate that narrative, with requests explicitly warning that no kind of arguments or beefing would be tolerated at the funeral, the implication being that there might have been some deep-seated internal conflicts going on within the Nightingale community. The heart of the issue may have been the fact that while Jonah was heavily banging Nightingale up until his death, he had also made it clear a long time ago that he had repped the Flyboys over everything. It seems that this may have become a major issue, particularly for the younger generation repping EBK, and after Jonah's death, J-Bo would openly diss him in several songs, even shockingly implying that he had something to do with the murder. Other EBK artists have also rapped some questionable lyrics that could be related to the murder, such as the 2025 song Ain't Adding Up by EBK Lebo and EBK Pig.
Something ain't adding up, hey, something ain't adding up. When died, niggas know y'all was mad as we outside, niggas ain't near, niggas gonna get touched.
Debo first disses several dead Flyboys members, before Pig mentions how one of their beefs started after he popped one of the members of this rival gang, his context seemingly implying that the gang he was talking about was indeed the Flyboys. While the EBK crew's profile in the music game continued to rise in the late 2010s, unfortunately, their involvement in serious criminal activity never fully stopped, and one incident that took place in April 2018 would later contribute to some serious internal fractures within the EBK crew. According to court documents, J-Bo's brother Osama and another EBK member Hari B traveled nearly an hour and a half from Stockton to Redwood City to meet a seller advertising marijuana on Craigslist. After inspecting the product, both sides agreed on a $4,000 price, with each party leaving the parking lot to retrieve either the marijuana or the cash. However, when the sellers returned with the marijuana, Hari B allegedly brandished a firearm while EBK Osama attempted to grab the product, and as the sellers tried to drive off, Hari B would allegedly open fire, striking one man multiple times and leaving him critically injured. This incident seemingly piquing the authorities' interests towards not just Osama and Hari, but the EBK crew as a whole.
So they was just looking for a lick, cause how was you looking for the bird on Craigslist, bro? I never heard of that.
This was followed just months later by another robbery that Hari B would apparently be implicated in, where he and at least 11 others attempted to hit a marijuana grow, making use of masks, rifles, and handguns.
This noon hour, we're learning more about the suspects in a robbery of a marijuana grow. The Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office.
See, bro, that's the thing about robbing. That's why you gotta learn how to hustle, bro. Cause you can't rob forever, bro, and you're not always gonna stay up off that lick, bro.
Arrested Joshua Hawkins Butler, Kenneth Duckett, and Kari Moore. However, deputies say there were at least 12 suspects spotted in surveillance. Authorities recovered 2 AK-47s, an AR-15, and 3 handguns.
And then, nearly a year later, on October the 1st, 2020, EBK Osama was formally indicted in connection with the failed 2018 Craigslist robbery, along with additional drug trafficking charges. Both men ultimately pleaded guilty, but by the time the sentencing arrived, EBK Hari B received nearly 7 years in federal prison, while EBK Osama was sentenced to just 12 months and 1 day, followed by supervised release. Among the two sides of the EBK camp, questions began to arise surrounding how Osama was indicted in the first place, and why Hari B only received 7 years and Osama only 1. Over the next...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. How he... They did say he told, I think.
As tensions grew between two of EBK's biggest rappers, Hari B's brother EBK Young Jock and EBK Osama's brother EBK J-Bo, the situation escalated when alleged paperwork began circulating, tying Hari B to snitching on a marijuana case, and these rumors would soon spill out into the open.
I'm on my way to 2-1 right now. Where you at? Hey, I'm on my way to 2-1 right now. Where you at?
He talking hot on the phone.
I'm on my way to Nightingale right now. I want that fade, blood. Shut up. Use a rat. Use a rat. Shut up. Ain't no justifying it. You told on the weed case. You told on some marijuana. Shut up. You want to link up at the mall, bro? We can link up somewhere cordial, bro. I'll beat y'all. I'm gonna pop you. I done been popped before. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. I eat bullets. I eat bullets. Being get popped can't kill me.
While incarcerated, EBK Osama also...
He's Superman, but nah, he definitely ratted, bro.
Hari B of snitching on a jail call, threatening his family and revealing that other EBK members were upset because he didn't post free Hari B.
On my mama, but when I see your mama, bro, I'm a slacker. I'm that on 2-1. When I see your baby, I'm slapping that too. On everything I love. When I see Hari baby, I'm beating her too. On
he just said he's slapping the mom, the baby mom, and the baby. Bro, what? Hold on.
What's up? I been giving y'all passes, bro. On my mama, y'all my blood cousins. Love y'all, bro. Y'all is out of pocket, though. You really raps, though. Really snitching. I don't feel like it's cool. Y'all mad at me because I ain't saying free Hari B. He made it. They got me indicted federally, bro. Federally, bro. Got me indicted for some shit I didn't even get caught for. Because you wanted to snitch on some about some weed. Why you couldn't just do 2 years, bro? Why you couldn't do your job?
But not everyone agreed with this narrative, and in a later interview, EBK Young Jock defended his brother and said that he only told on himself.
Mentioning it a lot in your song, so who is Hari B to you?
Hari B, that's my blood brother, that's my big brother. You talking crazy on you and down on you on some work, but it wasn't really like that, feel me? brother, if that's my big brother, he might just say a little bit too much about him, feel me? But yeah.
Similarly, EBK Trey B later came to Hari B's defense, pushing back on the snitching allegations and saying that Hari B had told on imaginary people.
People be trying to throw on Hari name. Could you clear that up if you want to?
Oh God. Bro ain't tell on nobody. Bro ain't snitch on nobody. Ain't no to go to jail behind what he said or none of that type. Police just asked him a question. He just made up an answer just made some up, which is what he supposed to do. Police ask you, where'd you get this gun from? I bought it from a random, I don't know who.
Yeah.
You feel me? And they tried to say he told. Bro.
Yeah.
But at the time this paperwork was released, cracks inside the EBK camp were already becoming visible. In an unreleased 2019 track, EBK J-Bo accused Hari of folding under pressure after being faced with a potential 20-year sentence.
Shoot.
In the same song, J-Bo revealed that while he considered it snitching, not everyone in the gang felt the same way. The internal divide would peak in late 2021.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Investigation continued. After speaking to Palmer, I asked Lofton if he was on probation, and he stated that he was. Officer Romero confirmed with headquarters that Lofton was on probation for domestic violence. We conducted a rollback to Lofton's residence after returning to the SCB, blah, blah, blah. I read him his Miranda rights, and he stated that he understood. Okay, the statement of ARR. Who is Malik Lott? See, hold on. I'm gonna let him talk before I get to it. Wait, if this not telling, then I don't know what is, Mr. Lott. What he say? I asked Lott if he was driving a black Hyundai Genesis, and he nodded up and down. He stated that he a passenger in the vehicle at the time. I was driving fast. I hit a corner, stopped, and the passenger got out. I asked him if Scott was his passenger, but he would not tell me. Okay, that's not telling. I asked him if he knew that the ammunition drum was in the vehicle, and he stated that he did. I asked him if he had a gun or if Scott, Sammy, had a gun. He was quiet and stated I did not have a gun. That's where it get a little ratty at. I asked him again who had the gun, and he told us to ask Scott if he had a gun or if the gun that was located was Scott's or not. Yeah, that's telling, bro. I mean, is it yours? I don't know, bro.
EBK Trey B aligned with Hari B and EBK Young Jock, releasing paperwork alleging EBK Osama had informed on a separate case. The division would split the gang into two, one being the EBK Young Jock side, who begun calling their version of EBK Every Brother Counts, while the original EBK, or Everybody Killer, crew would fall in line behind EBK J-Bo. And as J-Bo searched for new alliances against his ops, he would end up bringing in newer EBK members like EBK Pig, also known as Pay Pig 2125, who had long ties to the Westside Lewis Park Bloods, one of the Flyboys' biggest rivals.
We for sure with the G's though, with the girls and some black gay. I wouldn't say tied in though.
And how did you guys grow that connection with EBK, Black Gates, and all that?
Really just like streets, you know, just went to school with some of us grew up with each other. Like Pig, I've been knowing Pig damn near since I was 12 years old. Like I've been knowing that for hella long. Like that's big. Damn near since I was 12 years old. Like I've been knowing that for hella long. Like that's big bro, so.
The murder of Eli from the Lewis Park Bloods had started a chain reaction, a war in the streets that may have ultimately led to the most tragic event in Stockton's recent history. The next major casualty in that war would come a few years later in 2022. Just before 9:30 p.m. on Monday the 21st of February, officers responded to a shooting on South Airport Way, just south of the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds. At the scene, they found David Carlos, also known as Cholo, an alleged member of the Flyboys, in critical condition. They would rush him to hospital, where he would unfortunately succumb to his injuries on March the 7th, only one day after his 35th birthday. The loss would hit the Flyboys and their allies especially hard, as Cholo had been part of the older generation and was often mentioned alongside other Flyboy OGs.
That's on my dead homies. This block right here, the blocks that we taking you to, this damn block's been popping before even Spittleverse. Real shit. Here, RP Lowe's. On my mama, and shout out my dad and bro for getting it popping. King B, all them GG, Cholo, 20. Come on, Papa Fly. Hella
As a tribute, members of the Flyboys honored his memory by adopting his other nickname, Choke, and referring to themselves as Choke City.
Everybody always pushing that. Never too enough, no faking. Choke City. Why City? I'm Choke City though. You hear me?
Meanwhile, the Stockton police were asking for the public's help in identifying those responsible, particularly 2 individuals who had been captured in a security camera.
In Stockton have released new images of suspects from a homicide investigation. The Stockton Police Department says 34-year-old David Carlos died back in February after being shot at the Southside Market on Airport Way. Investigators say they are following several solid leads, but they say they need help identifying the suspects. They're asking anybody to call who may have relevant information.
Police described one person of interest as a heavy-set man in his mid-20s wearing glasses.
That bill, I can't read that bill, but that's a pretty identifiable bill.
Dark clothing, and a black sweatshirt with a BBB logo on the front, a logo that even people in the comments linked to Bounce Back Meek, who often referred to his Lewis Park Bloods as the Bounce Back Boys. Attention quickly turned to a Lewis Park member known as Chubbs, spelt with an X instead of a C, effectively whacking out the C as a disrespect to the Crips, whose build seemed to match the description almost perfectly. Chubbs was also making music under the rapper name 12187 Miyagi, rapping in the 2020 song Sucker Diss, together with another Lewis Park Blood known as Pyru Briss. How his ops seemingly hated him so much that they were ready to kill him on sight. The music video for this song also prominently featured the same BBB acronym that the shooter was seen wearing. People online also identified the shorter individual as EBK Pig. The suggestion...
Wait, what? Nah, now go back. Hold on, gang. That might be Pig. Oh my gosh, bro. Nah, I was definitely
slipping. If EBK identified the shorter individual as EBK Pig, the suggestion perhaps being that if EBK carried out the hit, wearing a Bounce Back Boys hoodie would be an effective way to throw off the investigators. But whoever was truly responsible, the Flyboys were out looking for revenge, and for them, Chubbs was the perfect target.
Dang.
On June the 9th, 2022, at 4:39 p.m.
Wait, how long? This said June 9th. And when did this happen? Hold up, y'all. Hold on. Stick with me. Bro, it won't let me like select the time, bro. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let's see.
And their allies as
June 9th. March 7th. So January, March, April, May, June. Oh, 3 months. They was outside. Alright, hold on, y'all. Hold on, lock in.
On June the 9th, 2022, at 4:39 p.m, officers were called to a report of a shooting behind Oak Park in the 400 block of East Fulton Street in North Stockton. At the location, they found 2 people sitting in a vehicle suffering from gunshot wounds. One male was transported by medics to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, but the second person shot was unfortunately pronounced dead on the scene, this turning out to be none other than Chubbs, real name Jaron Malik Salkido. What made the incident even more tragic was that according to police, there were 2 small children in the vehicle during the shooting.
Developing story now. One man is dead tonight after a double shooting in Oak Park. Stockton police say the call came in just before 5 p.m. tonight. They found a car with 2 victims inside. One person was declared dead at the scene. The other victim was taken to the hospital.
Information that I just received was that there were 2 small children that were inside that vehicle and they were uninjured during this shooting.
Well, I mean, at least they didn't hit the kids, but dang, they ain't got no rap.
2025 mass shooting that targeted the Flyboys and the Muddy Boys, leaving 3 children and 1 adult dead. Chubbs' friend Pyru Briss would share a story on Instagram about seeing a video of Chubbs' lifeless body hanging out the window of a car where he was found with his kids visible in the background. Following his death, Chubbs' friends from Lewis Park would pay tribute to him on social media, while over the years, multiple members of the Flyboys and Muddy Boys would diss him in their music. For example, on the 2025 track Old Nell, MB Nell rapped about retaliation following Cholo's death, saying that after Cholo died, a fat member of the Blood Gang was shot. Flyboys rapper Boy Boy Gunner, on the other hand, suggested on his track Choke City, named after Cholo's nickname, that after Cholo's death, the Flyboys got the main person responsible, implying that they definitely considered Chubbs responsible for the murder and had dealt with him accordingly. And to remove any doubt, Boy Boy Gunner later confirmed on his track Dead Ops that Chubbs' murder was indeed a direct retaliation for Cholo. Bands, who has been in some rumors even connected to Chubbs' murder, has also added to the dissing by rapping on his 2024 song The Real Boogeyman that Chubbs Chubbs was dead because he had said that he was smoking on Cholo, aka Choke. But Band's perhaps most telling moment of dissing, or self-snitching depending on how you look at it, would be in the music video for the song Forever Spazzin', together with Nano MB, where Bands would first rap about his accolades as a killer, asking the listeners and his ops how many more people he has to kill before they get the picture, before listing 2 of his ops who had ended up dead after speaking on his gang, with both of these names being cut out of the audio. However, during the second name, Bands could be seen on the video doing a hand motion on his stomach, making it very clear that he was referring to a person who was overweight. 2 people had already lost their lives in 2022 alone, yet the feud was only just starting, and the next murder would drag EBK straight into the conflict, costing them one of their biggest rappers in a chilling out-of-town assassination plot.
Out of town.
In the early morning hours of August the 5th, 2022, officers responded to a report of a possible shooting at an apartment complex located at 176 Trevino Avenue in the city of Manteca to the south of Stockton. At the scene, 29-year-old Deshaun Victor, better known as the EBK rapper Young Slowby, was found suffering from multiple gunshot wounds, and he would later pass away from his injuries. According to the police, the shooting didn't appear to be random, but similar to other gang-related cases, the authorities were keeping details close to their chests.
In what would be his last post on his verified Instagram profile, rapper Young Slowby is seen visiting a Stockton business where his sweatshirts and t-shirts were sold. The shop's owner says outside that shop Friday morning, people were waiting to purchase Young Slowby merch.
All today, I just been listening to his music, just like sad, honestly. Super sad.
This young fan, who asked that we not show his face on camera, appreciated the rapper's music about Stockton.
I feel like he has so much potential to him too, because he's an up and coming artist. Like I feel like he could have been something so much bigger.
In San Joaquin County, Melanie Wingo, KCRA 3 News.
At this point, police don't think this was a random crime. The shooter is still on the loose.
Interestingly, one of the first people to circulate specific details about the attack was controversial internet hood vlogger DC Baby Draco, who claimed that on-the-ground sources said that a black Mercedes-Benz was involved.
You mean tell that cop it's a black Benz that took off? It's nothing. He's falling asleep. In front of our apartment.
That detail was indeed officially confirmed 2 years later when police finally asked the public for help identifying a suspected black Mercedes found about 20 minutes away in the neighboring city of Tracy. Soon after the murder, EBK members responded with posts memorializing Slowby, while the circumstances around the shooting would fuel more speculation that this might have been a setup and that someone had backdoored the rapper, especially given that the hit occurred early in the morning, just 15 minutes outside of Stockton. This meant that somebody almost certainly was aware of Slowby's location way ahead of the murder, and those rumors further intensified the following year when the mother of Slowby's child admitted to sleeping with none other than EBK Jabo.
But you guys are weird as it's been 8 months. Let it go. Let me and what I do go. Just put it.
Bro, that's the ultimate backdoor game. I ain't gonna lie, that's not thorough.
I was just a 304. Like, that's it and that's all. I'm from a trailer park. Damn, you got me.
She definitely do give trailer park vibes, bro, but I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm gonna have to cut it short right here, bro. But part 2 is coming, bro, so make sure y'all stay tuned, man. And hopefully I enjoyed that reaction, bro, because I definitely did up until this point. I mean, I still am enjoying, but I ain't gonna lie. I just got off a 16-hour shift, bro. I'm finna edit this joint and go to sleep and repeat. But it's better. I'm gonna catch y'all next when I'm out this joint, bro.
Chains in these watches, boy, we real ice. Hands out the window, bam, 10 and a pair of Nikes. Bustin' balls, I'm in Cali every week with it. Brody, what I told you about